Tom from Hawaii had not seen much snow. He's having a good time up there in Mount Hamilton. A little meadow mouse or vole type creature that they found in the field between their apartment and the Stanford campus. John had built some kind of a peculiar thing that he called a hovercraft, trying it out in the backyard. There's our dog, John's dog, Puella. Tomito seeing what's going on. He also built a glider, trying it out there on the field near Moffett Field. Here's a beetle from our backyard. Steve Cannell and the Cannell family. This must be a wedding. See if I can see who it is. Oh, it's Diane Butterfield. So the wedding is in Charlotte, Michigan. There's Grandma Weston. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan for Allison's graduation from the university. There's Allison, Helen Ernestine. This is an archaeological site on the Saginaw River on the west side, just below the 3rd Street Bridge or the railroad bridge, somewhere in that vicinity. Ira was always very interested in archaeology, and he's brought us and Grandma and Grandpa Butterfield down to see it. They recovered quite a bit from that site. Here we are at the Henrys with Margaret Louise. First picture we've had of her. Erston Butterfield is there too, along with Erston Jr., and I'm sure Isabel must be somewhere. There's Grandma with Margaret Louise. Oh, we're taking the ferry over to Center Island in Toronto, off Toronto. This is the skyline of Toronto in the distance. The ferry is just landing now at Center Island. Swan. And Roger's feeding the swan. Here we are at the parking lot in Montreal about to visit the expo. As you can see, the expo was quite crowded and we had to stand in line many times to get into the various buildings. Behind the U.S. flag are the flags of the various states. Here are Helen and Ron. They've recently moved from North Dakota to Oswego, New York. Still have the North Dakota license. Here's the campus where Ron will be teaching. These are scenes from Fort Ontario in Oswego, reenacting various maneuvers. Here are Helen and Ron, and Helen at their house in Oswego. There's Helen inside the camper. We're on our way back across Ontario to Michigan. This is St. Lawrence Seaway. This boat must have been heading from Lake Ontario to Lake Erie. It's considerably higher than it was now, so they pumped water into the lock. This is the lock at Port Colborne, Ontario. We're now in the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. Some of the little wildlife there. There's a Clark's nutcracker and another one behind it. Here we are at Christmas time, 1967, back in Sunnyvale, California. Tomito and John up in Mount Madonna State Park in the coastal range. It's now 1968. Tom and John in the Pinnacles National Monument. Now John's going skiing in the Sierra Nevadas, I think at Bear Mountain, but I'm not sure. This is Tomito and John at the Stanford campus. This is the Stanford Chapel. View of the Hoover Tower. This is a view of Palo Alto and lower San Francisco Bay from the Herbert Hoover's house, which is the residence of the president of Stanford University. This is at a reception for the graduates. That was the 1968 plaque honoring the class of '68. Next year they'll put another one down in that walk. Hoover Tower in the background. This is the graduation exercise. Here's John, very happy at his graduation, showing his mother his diploma. John and I. Here's John's radio-controlled sailboat that he built, sailing on the lagoon at Palo Alto Yacht Harbor. Here's making Christmas cookies at Sunnyvale. Barbara, there's Weston. He's enjoying the camera more than the cookies, I think. Here are Margaret and Weston playing. So this is Christmas of 1968. There he is crawling with Michael. These are birds at the flowers on our backyard. I think I'm not sure what they are, but they're feeding on seeds. There's John holding one of his nephews. John in his sailor's uniform. Helen holding Michael. And Maxine holding Weston. Or Barbara holding Weston. Here's Roger. We're at the Pinnacles National Monument. Helen holding Weston. There's Margaret Louise. Roger. Evidently they're packed up to leave. There's Barbara. Michael's walking now. Sometimes. Here's Helen Ernestine trying to feed, or no, it's Helen trying to feed Michael. Here we are across from, whoops, that's St. Olive and Uncle Jesse. This is 1969. John's boat again, sailing at Palo Alto. Here's Puella, John's dog. A fire at a nearby residence, Sunnyvale. Robert Clary has visited us at Sunnyvale with Maxine. This is an air show at Moffett Field, where I worked at the Ames Research Center. Moffett Field was shared by NASA and the Navy. These pictures were taken from the roof of the building where I worked. Those are the P-3 Orion planes, which were based at that field. Their mission was to keep track of submarines in the Pacific. View of the dirigible hangar, originally built for the Shenandoah or the Macon, I believe the Macon. Some more views of the air show. We're at Christmas of 1969, and Grandma Weston, Allison, Robert, and Maxine are trimming the tree. This is at Aunt Maxine's house in Auburn, Michigan. There's Ronald and Michael. John, Helen, and Helen Ernestine. This must be Christmas at the Angles, Oswego, New York. There's crayfish in Ron's lab at the State University of New York, Oswego campus. This is the Rice Field Station of the campus. Ducks being fed there. Plenty of snow around. One of Ron's neighbors with a snowblower is clearing his driveway. Michael showing his grandmother some of the trimmings on the tree. These are birds in the yard at Oswego, I believe. There we are at the Henrys, Margaret Louise, and there's Weston at Bader Fay. There's Roger with the children. Barbara and Weston. Well, this is the roll that I double exposed. The whole 1970 roll is double exposed, and sometimes you'll have trouble separating the scenes, but there are enough in there that you can see what went on during the year. There were scenes at Bader Fay and at Bay City, Michigan, and Sunnyvale, California. Robert Clary and I went to some races up above San Francisco. There's Grandma Butterfield at her house in Bay City, Michigan, and Grandpa. Jenny, Marion. That looks like Uncle Ira. Here we are at Christmas of 1970. All very confusing. This is in Grandma Butterfield's house at 2600 Center, her photo gallery. Grandpa Butterfield. Grandma Butterfield in her kitchen. Helen helping with the dishes. Grandpa helping. Well, at last we got off the double exposure roll. This is a scene at Ira's on the Colin River. We're putting up his 3-element beam for radio communications with me in California, and helping our Erston and Erston Jr. and myself. This was in 1971, and he's still using that beam with good luck. Recently contacted son Robert in Alaska with it. And here we are at the Montreal Zoo with Helen and John, Weston, and I'm sure Margaret Louise will show somewhere. There's Margaret with Weston and their mother. Feeding the llama. Granby Zoo, Roger says. Here's Roger. And Cheryl. Craig. Be the pool at Bader Fay. And Ron and Michael, we're now in Oswego, New York. Brown Road. There's Helen and John's sailor hat. We're on their boat in Fairhaven. Michael doesn't seem to be enjoying the ride too much. Now we're in Auburn, Michigan. There's Robert Clary loading his car for the trip back to work, I guess. There's Weston and Margaret helping. There they are, waving goodbye. Grandma Weston. Oops, I guess that's the end of that reel. This is 1972 at Roger and Barbara Henry's, and here we are about to take off on the ferry for the picnic at Oka Island. There's a frog in there. If you look carefully, you'll see him jump. Margaret Louise playing in the sand. There's Weston. Barbara. There are Margaret and Weston with Roger. Barbara and Helen resting. And here we are with the first picture of Christine Engel. Michael's showing Christine the cat with his grandmother. This is at Brown Road, Oswego, New York. Helen Ernestine with Christine. John also met us at Oswego. Ron and John and Helen looking at the road map. Another view of Christine. Helen, Christine, and Michael with Ron. Here's Allison at Auburn. John and Allison took a trip west out to our place. There's Aunt Maxine. Looks like they're getting ready to go somewhere. Grandpa Butterfield at 2600 Center with Christine. Helen. Grandma Butterfield. Michael enjoying a baseball mitt that he found in the window seat. Grandma Weston with Christine and Helen. And Helen. There's Erston at 2600 Center with Grandma Weston, Erston Jr., Erston and his mother, Isabel, Jenny, Marion, and Helen. John with his camera, Eleanor, this is at the Salt Marsh in Palo Alto. That bird up in the air is a stilt, and he's trying to dive bomb a gull that's too close to its nest. Well, another year's gone by. This is 1973 now with John and Allison at Sunnyvale. This is up at McNabb Ranch, where we have some property in California, showing the turkey vulture. There's one in flight. There's father and mother at 2600 Center with Allison and Diane, Kathleen with her son. Here we are back in Oswego, New York, loading up a car again, Ron, and being helped by Michael. Here comes Christine to say goodbye. Now we're back at the Henrys, I believe. And this time we're in Oh, this is Africa land. These pictures are taken through the car window because there's nothing between the animals and you except the car window. Weston and Margaret riding on a merry-go-round, coming down the slide. Now they're having a pony ride. Swimming at the pool, Butterfield. Here we're with John at Smuggler's Notch in Vermont. This is the Ticonderoga on display at the Shelburne Museum. Now we're back at Butterfield with Grandma Weston, Helen, Margaret Louise, Goldie the dog, Weston. Roger. Here we are back at Christmas of 1973 in Sunnyvale with the Engel family. This is sailing on the Stevens Creek Reservoir with my sailboat. Christine at John's bathroom sink cleaning up. There's Michael. Out on the Palo Alto marshes again. The outlet to San Francisco Bay. Michael trying to feed the gulls. The lagoon at Palo Alto Yacht Harbor. Here's the San Francisco airport as the Engels are leaving for home. Yeah, looks like we got about 100 feet or 50 feet left, doesn't it? This reel is difficult to identify. We believe it was taken in the summer of 1974, plus or minus a year. And this is the Saginaw River near the Belinda Street Bridge, Bay City, Michigan. Bridge is open to allow a boat to go through. Bridge has since been replaced by a new bridge high enough so it doesn't, or it's a drawbridge type, and this bridge is no longer in use. This is swimming at Browns Bay, Ontario, where the Henrys, Engels, and Butterfields met for a picnic. Margaret Louise. Helen, Roger, John, Ron, Christine, Michael. In the background, Barbara and her mother. There's Weston with Margaret and Christine. There's Weston and Michael. And this is the pool again at Butterfield. Here we are overlooking Burlington and Lake Champlain from John's room at the 7th floor of 707 at 707 Park Center. You see the breakwater out there. This is downtown Burlington. This is the inside of John's room. This is at Bus McGall and McNabb Ranch, Ukiah, California. The sun coming up over the clouds, and we're above the clouds. This is early 1975. I've got a date of January 12th. There's Helen. And this is 1948. The scene is Bonnie Butterfield's wedding in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. This is a jellyfish floating in Monterey Bay Yacht Harbor. This particular tape was probably taken at the end of 1974 during one of Ron and Helen's visits. Boy, it looks good here. This is a swarm of ladybugs at Shaver Lake near Fresno, California. I was up there for a weekend with some friends I work with at NASA. One of the fellows' relatives had a cottage up there. This was in the spring and the wildflowers were out. Pictures along the creek flowing into the lake. Now we're back to 1975, sailing on Stevens Creek Reservoir. And a rose in Helen's garden at Sunnyvale. We met Barbara, Margaret Louise, and Christine at Disneyland. There they're taking a ride in one of the many rides available. Here we are at near Stevens Creek. The Margaret Louise and Weston and Roger are going to ride the horses. Here's the whole family together. Up at Tioga Pass, elevation 9,941 feet. Evidently had a rock slide there. And here's Robert Clary. Now the family has gone up to Fort Ross. Margaret ringing the bell. I guess from the smile she succeeded. Now Weston's got to have his turn at the bell. Here's Grandma Butterfield.
That's when they came out.
No, this is at Ira's house. Yeah. There's Aunt Eleanor, Ira. I guess that's Helen's head we see. The Revolutionary soldiers are upside down there, but that's because I wanted to get the light in a certain direction. These were built by Helen early in 1966 on 1976 on clothespins. Here they are, right side up. This is a model airplane meet near Modesto, which Robert Needy and Helen and I went to. The sky was so bright that it's very much overexposed and you can't get to see too much of the details. There's Robert Needy leaving at the end of the meet. This is San Francisco Bay at low tide. I was probably out in my homemade kayak style boat. It's the Dumbarton Bridge, which has since been, or the railroad bridge. The one in the background is the Dumbarton Bridge, which has since been replaced. This is back toward the Palo Alto Yacht Harbor. That sea of mud will soon be replaced with water as the tide comes in. There's my sailboat on top of the camper. That's the way I carried it. Here Robert and Edie are at one of the local school grounds, flying the radio-controlled glider. This is a picnic we had near Collingwood, Wasaga Beach, with Roger and his mother and father, Roger's family. Roger's father, Weston, followed by Margaret Louise.
This is the naval station at Penetang.
And here we are. We've left Canada and are in Oswego. That's Michael mowing the lawn. Christine. This is near Manchester Center, where Jessica, John's daughter, and Zachary, his son, will be taking a ride on ponies. There's Zachary, with John helping. This is 1978 now. There's Jessica, John's wife. We're at West Arlington Covered Bridge over the Battenkill. Here comes Jessica. And there's the whole family. Zachary playing out in his yard. Here we are back at the Engels. Michael, Christine, and Helen. There's Ron. Robert and Edie Clary are trimming the tree at 873 Cascade, Sunnyvale. This will be Christmas 1978. Here we are, visited by Aunt Olive, Warner Butterfield and his wife Mariel. Warner was the son of my father's brother Ira. Back out in lower San Francisco Bay. Again at low tide. Those are swallows nesting underneath the pillars of the Dumbarton Railroad Bridge. A heron in the lagoon at Palo Alto fishing as the water comes in as the tide rises. There's a snow egret there also looking around the end of the pipe. Here Robert and Edie with a radio-controlled model airplane that Robert built in a field near Milpitas, California. Here Robert and Edie sailing on my boat. I guess I should say they're relaxing while I'm probably doing the sailing. Here are harbor seals in lower San Francisco Bay near Alviso. This is the sailboat on Stevens Creek Reservoir. This is an old Navy destroyer which was wrecked in World War II while they were maneuvering on San Francisco Bay. There's not too much left of it, but one morning a party of us, myself, Robert Needy, and the Menchie family, picked a time at low tide where we could actually walk around the wreck. Robert sailing his glider on the bluffs on the east side of San Francisco Bay near Fremont. These were taken, the previous ones were taken in '78, and we think this is 1982 with Christine and Michael leaving Sunbury Road. Whoops, I'm sorry, not Sunbury Road. Shushan. This is 1982. We've already moved from California to New York. The Henrys were there also. This, I believe, was March of 1982. John's family was there. There's Benjamin playing in the driveway. Weston, Margaret Louise. Roger. And there's Barbara. They're evidently leaving, getting ready, going home. There's Benjamin, Jessica, Michelle, John's wife, John, Margaret. Oh, there's the whole Henry family. There's John Boys wearing the gas mask that I bought after World War II. Looks like they're going down to the car. Helen coming out to see them off. There's Richard Michael and John. I'm sorry, Richard Michael and Ben. Zachary's on the skates. This is a different visit. Christine driving the garden tractor. There John's helping Ben on roller skates. Michael giving Ben a ride on the tractor. I guess they're leaving. Well, John's children having a good time in the snow. Now the Henrys are back again, and they're going down toward the Battenkill. That's our lower pond.
This is where Margaret falls in, is it?
Yeah. It's a pretty steep drop going down the bank to the river. So Margaret took a spill as she made that jump. Splashed in the water. Looks like I had a log to walk over by the time I got there. And here's Barbara going over the same log. I believe this was Easter of 1985. Here's the railroad bridge going across the Battenkill. Barbara watching that she doesn't fall through between the ties. This is up at John's place in Burlington. This is the Tin Man at the ice show that they had. The Engels also joined us up there at Burlington. There they are at John's house, 84 Woodlawn Avenue. Christine, Michael, and Ron and Helen. Here comes Michelle, Jessica, Zachary, and Benjamin. Now the Engels are down at the river. There's Ron, Christine and Michael. Now this is our Easter dinner. There's Grandma Weston. The lamb cake that Helen makes quite often at Easter time. Christine trying some exercises in the living room. There's some birds at the bird feeder. Here's John's family at Shushan. Snow's all gone by now, so this must be spring of '85. Now they're leaving. John, Michelle. The Engels at Shushan. There's Edie. So Robert must have been there too, and their dog, Gus, short for asparagus. That's Christine. There go the Ingalls. Now this is at Ira's house. Erston and Isabel happened to be there, and we went up there after attending our 50th reunion at the University of Michigan. There's Isabel and Erston, Ira. Now we're back at Shushan, New York, and Ben and Zachary are trying to propel my kayak-style boat with a single-ended paddle. At the time, I guess my double-ended one had been broken. And this is the pool at our house in Shushan, near Shushan. I don't know who's ducking who there, but I guess it's Michael and Christine. Now we have some other people in the pool. I guess that was Ben. And there's Zachary on the little chair. Jessica. That's John roller skating in our driveway. Now we have even more people in the pool. Looks like the Engels are there, and the Henrys. There's Margaret being chased by her father. Looks like Weston and Michael are going to toss Christine into the pool. The occasion for this get-together was Grandma Weston's 100th birthday. There's Robert, Helen, and that is the other Helen. There's Edie. Oh no, that was Barbara, and Helen was sitting near Edie. There's Chris. Better stop naming names, I'm getting them all mixed up. There's Roger with Margaret and Weston. Helen, Michael, Ron at the screen door. John's family. Doesn't look like Helen's ready to leave yet. Well, I guess the Henrys are leaving for home. On here the Angles and the John Butterfields are down by the river. Another swim in the pool, at least for Christine. Michael and Zachary. John. Michelle. Helen and Helen Ernestine. A little disagreement with Zachary and Benjamin. There's Robert Clary and his glider, same one he had out in California. He's going to try flying it at Shushan. Jessica giving Benjamin a ride on the tractor. This is 1986, by the way. And Robert and Edie are taking turns sliding down the hill on a plastic saucer. Jessica and Benjamin have their sleds. Oh, that was Zachary. Well, Zachary has a sled too, so all three of John's children are there. Christina knowing Michael. This must be an Easter again of '86. There are the Angles and bothering Michael. He evidently hadn't gone to church. The rest of them are dressed up for church. That's right. He's trying to get a tan. There's a little tiny snapping turtle about 6 inches long on his way to our upper pool. There's the Luna moth that Edie discovered on our bathroom window. Back in the pool, that's Christine. She's going to try some of her synchronous swimming routines. And here we are on the Henry's boat on Lake Simcoe. The boat you see in the picture is Bill's boat. There's Barbara boarding after a swim. Roger. This is near Big Chief Island. Margaret. This is a ferry boat off Kingston, which will take us to Wolf Island on our way back to Shushan. View of Kingston. Here we are back at Shushan in the swimming pool again with John's family. There's Jessica about to dive in.
I was gonna say, who's that? She's grown up.
Oh yeah, she's getting pretty big now. Here comes Benjamin. There goes Zachary, he'll just jump. Ben will jump. There's Christine. There's Christine, I imagine she'll be diving. There's Jessica.